Good evening. I'm Ellison Barber in for Tom Llamas. Tonight, the holiday weekend rush is on as millions of Americans hit the roads and the skies ahead of Memorial Day. And this year, projected to break records, nearly 44 million Americans traveling during the unofficial start to summer. Taking a live look at Reagan National Airport in Arlington, Virginia, and the busy I-676 in Philadelphia. Airports and highways still packed at this hour. Road trips are expected to set a record with more than 38 million set to travel by car. Drivers should prepare for rough conditions like this, hail and torrential rain in Texas, leading to big backups. Tonight, 45 million are at risk for isolated tornadoes, damaging winds, and flash flooding as relentless storms continue to pound the central portion of the country. This tornado wreaking havoc in Duke, Oklahoma, and severe weather could have a serious impact on air travel, with an estimated 3.5 million Americans flying this weekend. This year, airport crowds are expected to reach records not seen in nearly 2 decades. Rounds of storms will persist well into the holiday weekend. Bill Cairns is standing by to time it out, but we start tonight with NBC's Tom Costello.
Kickoff to the summer travel season with 20-year high Memorial Weekend traffic hitting the roads. But signs of trouble already, with the fire in Boston's Ted Williams Tunnel creating havoc. And at the airports, record-breaking numbers of passengers.
The weather looks good right now, so hopefully my flight doesn't get canceled.
The TSA says today alone could set a record with 3 million checkpoint screenings.
I just need your ID. Hold on to your ticket.
Already 5 of the busiest TSA days ever have been this month, setting up another summer stress test for airports and airlines.
Last year, we saw a 10-year low in terms of the cancellation rate. So far, that's holding this year. We'll be looking to the airlines to see if they can keep that up.
Echo Kilo to the ramp.
At DFW Airport, the nation's second busiest, the command center watches it all. From here, they monitor 20 miles of underground baggage track at DFW, 80,000 bags a day moving through the system through 5 terminals.
You see a lot of green. That's fantastic. Green is good.
American Airlines with its new baggage control room to speed up bag delivery and cut its lost luggage rate. Bags with tight connections at hubs are loaded last, so they're offloaded first. And now some are going on earlier flights.
We have found that very, very effective in ensuring that bags are either traveling with our customers or slightly ahead of our customers into some of our key markets.
If I get to the airport 2 hours early, my bag may make an earlier flight to Reagan Airport or LAX or wherever I'm going.
It could, right.
Today, thunderstorms paused departures in Chicago, while a brief communication failure at Memphis Control affected Nashville and Dallas flights. One big threat this summer, the FAA is still short 3,000 air traffic controllers, despite pushing through big classes at the Air Traffic Control Academy.
And Tom Costello joins us now from Reagan National Airport. Tom, the staffing shortages you just mentioned, why is that still such a big problem for the FAA?
Yeah, it's been persistent. A couple of reasons. The FAA has a mandatory retirement age for controllers of 56, and they have a lot of controllers retiring. There's a high burnout rate in the academy, 30% burnout rate, and then 30% of people quit once they're on the job. They don't like the long hours. They don't like having to work weekends and holidays and overnights. And once they get into that pressure cooker of a job, 30% simply walk away.
And Tom, yesterday we saw nearly 9,000 delays and hundreds of cancellations due to weather. In terms of just day-to-day traveling, how are things looking?
We got about 5,800 delays today, about 200 cancellations, and it's all about the weather, and specifically it is about the Chicago O'Hare area. O'Hare and Midway both have had some slowdowns and, in fact, ground stops at a certain point. Toronto, right across the border, of course, has also had some issues. So this has been a problem really in the Midwest corridor.
Tom Costello, thank you. And the risk of severe storms complicating the travel picture this weekend after a stunning 26 reported tornadoes touched down across the Great Plains and Midwest yesterday alone, leaving behind a devastating trail of destruction. Here's NBC's Maggie Vespa.
Oh my gosh, dude.
That's a big old tornado.
Jaw-dropping video painting a familiar picture. An apparent monster twister tearing through Oklahoma on the ground for nearly an hour. Hail hammering the town of Duke overnight as a merciless streak of tornadoes stretches on. Iowa's governor today announcing President Biden approved a major disaster declaration, speeding up help for people in Greenfield, ravaged by Tuesday's deadly EF4 tornado.
Basically, we're going to have to start from scratch.
Storms slamming the state again. This car catching fire near Des Moines this morning after winds ripped down power lines. Hours later, heavy machinery pulls a metal roof from a tree after a reported tornado hit western Illinois. Authorities say no one was hurt. 10-year-old Michael cleaned up debris with his brother after seeing the twister from his school bus.
I saw it getting ready to come touch the ground.
How did you feel when you saw that?
Nervous and scared.
I couldn't get to him, and that's the worst feeling ever a parent can ever imagine having.
2024 is the third most active year on record with 900 reported tornadoes, more than a third in May.
And Maggie Vespa joins us now. Maggie, that little boy and his mom, understandably so scared there. You have been on the ground all week talking to a lot of families finding themselves in similar situations. What stood out to you the most as you've been reporting?
Yeah, it's kind of the sentiment similar to what 10-year-old Michael said in that piece, or he told us actually in another part of our interview that he's been through drills before. He's read about tornadoes in school. Like, if you grow up in the Midwest, it's just a fact of life. You live through countless tornado warnings that produce nothing. So when you're finally hit with one, that rattles people. But in this case, people are also rattled knowing they're a part of a pattern. They're a part of this streak this year. This is the third most active year, as we said, on record. And people know that they're getting slammed by what just feels like a relentless wave of severe weather. It was perhaps most encapsulated yesterday by FEMA's administrators saying that their staff and their team was already on the ground in Iowa after a tornado earlier this month in Minden. They just moved everybody over to Greenfield when it was hit earlier this week. So it's just been exhausting for everyone and daunting to see how big this is. Elsa.
We appreciate you being out there and bringing us those stories. Maggie Vespa in Illinois, thank you. And heading into this holiday weekend, millions are still at risk for a dangerous severe weather outbreak. So let's get right to NBC News meteorologist Bill Cairns. Bill, walk us through what to expect.
Yeah, the trick is going to be on a holiday weekend. A lot of people are in places that they aren't used to, and knowing where the shelters are, things like that. If you're at your house, it's a different thing. But when you're, not, it can be scary. So let's get into the forecast for tonight. We're not going to see a tornado outbreak tonight, thankfully, about time, right? So just severe thunderstorms, isolated strong wind gusts, and hail is the problem. And this will continue till about 11 p.m. or so, then everything should begin dying off. We've had continuous thunderstorms up here north of St. Louis, and then we have a lot of flash flooding issues going on also. And you can notice all the bright red, kind of how they're training in the same location, almost like train tracks, moving here from west to east. That's when you get some serious flash flooding issues. Chicago has a break right now. Some showers are trying to head your way. These tornadoes, by the way, were early this morning around Davenport. Closer look at St. Louis. Downtown, you're just fine. To the north of you is where the big thunderstorms are. There's a couple to your west, so St. Louis, some of those may try to drift your way. Let's stop a little further to the south. We've had thunderstorms dancing around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They're getting up here close to the airport now, so we could possibly see another ground stop here shortly. Hail's the biggest threat with these storms as we go throughout this evening. Tomorrow, different story. Tomorrow could be a tornado outbreak. Very serious situation for anyone here in the orange or red colors. The red is a 4 out of 5. There's a chance it could even go up to what we call a high-risk scenario. They're very confident that we're going to get supercell thunderstorms with the possibility of them being violent in this hashed area. And then Saturday night into Sunday morning, those storms roll through Missouri and into Illinois and into Indiana. So, Allison, tomorrow is going to be a very scary day late in the evening in the middle of the country, and we just hope they all miss. We don't know. We're going to have big tornadoes.
We will be ready, but hope for much better than what it looks like right now. Bill Cairns, thank you so much. As we head into this Memorial Day weekend, according to AAA, those 43.8 million travelers headed to various destinations. That number up 4% from last year. And 38 million people are hitting the road by car. That is the highest on record for Memorial Day weekend. NBC News correspondent Antonia Hilton joins us now from Secaucus, New Jersey. Antonia, you have been out there all day reporting. What has traffic been like, and what are you hearing from travelers?
It has been a busy, congested day here, Ellison, and at this rest stop, people have been coming in as a steady stream, families, friends traveling in groups together, grabbing water bottles, using the restroom, getting food. And I've been talking to people who told me that they watched as their Google Maps app went from telling them their trip was 4 hours to 6.5 hours. They were expecting in some cases to maybe be stuck in the car for as much as 10 hours. So people are not so much surprised by this, but they are really bracing themselves for it. We're seeing about a 4% increase over where we were last year, these record numbers, and the vast majority of them are traveling on the roads. Take a listen to some of the conversations I've had with travelers today. How's the traffic looking to you?
Terrible. It's pretty bad.
We've been on the road for already an hour and we just left New York. My hopes for this weekend is that we can just get to places on time.
And some officials here in the New Jersey, New York area have been urging people to use public transportation or the train systems if that's available to them. But even Amtrak has had some issues. The New Jersey governor had to write to Secretary Buttigieg to urge him to do something about some of the failing infrastructure for the Amtrak railways. And so really, no matter what you are doing tonight or tomorrow, expect for there to be delays and some crowds, Elsa.
Antonia, for viewers who are hitting the road, say tomorrow or even later tonight, what are the best and worst times really to take that journey on the road?
Yeah, we asked the experts for some of this advice as well. So the very best time to leave happened to be yesterday, unfortunately, so that window has closed. If you are still at the office or packing up your things right now, you should hang out a little bit. Wait until after 8 p.m. to get on the road. That's supposed to be the best tonight. Tomorrow, though, if you are planning to head to a barbecue or to see some family, try to leave in the morning, sometime before 1 p.m. That is going to make your trip a whole lot easier. If you wait until the middle of the day, the afternoon crunch, you're going to be stuck in some of these long, pretty painful waits.
All right, next year, people mark it down, leave earlier than right now, otherwise after 8 p.m. tonight. Antonia Hilton in New Jersey, thank you. Next tonight, we turn to the Turks and Caicos. One of 5 American tourists charged with bringing ammunition into the country illegally has been freed. NBC News correspondent Priscilla Thompson, who reported for us last night on this, has more on what's next for the Americans still behind bars.
Absolutely elated. Can't wait to get home.
American Brian Hagerich walking out of court in Turks and Caicos, a free man today after being detained there for more than 3 months. A judge sentencing the father of 2 to a year-long suspended sentence and $6,700 fine after Hagerich pled guilty to possession of ammunition that he says was accidentally left in a checked bag he used for hunting trips. The crime punishable by 12 years in prison. The judge setting aside that minimum, citing the act being unintentional, that he has no prior criminal record, and the impact on his 5-year-old daughter.
Overwhelming, just joy. This is what we've been waiting for the last 101 days. To be home and hug my kids, it's the best day.
The financial toll, an estimated $100,000, a family spokesperson says.
Off we go.
Now Hagerich is headed back stateside as 4 other Americans facing similar charges in separate incidents await their day in court.
We did it. We got it. God did it.
Thankful, so happy.
Sharita Greer and Ryan Watson are now hoping for a similar fate.
I also have so much comfort knowing that he's getting to hug his kids tonight. Man, I want that for him almost as bad as I want it for me.
Tonight, renewed hope for returning home after they say paradise became a prison.
And Priscilla joins us now. So, Priscilla, I do want to pick up where you ended your piece. When will the next American actually be in court to learn their fate here?
Yeah, Ellison, a second American, Tyler Winrich, is due back in court, expected to be sentenced before Tuesday. And meanwhile, those other 3 Americans will also be in court in the coming weeks as hearings are continuing in their cases. Ellison?
Priscilla Thompson, thank you. We move now to Haiti as violence on the island nation continues to escalate. 3 missionaries, including 2 Americans, were shot and killed by armed gangs. NBC's senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez has this story.
Tonight, Davy Lloyd's mother is in agony.
He died doing what he loved because he just wanted to help the Haitian people.
Elisa Lloyd and her husband founded missions in Haiti more than 20 years ago. The independent nonprofit runs schools and churches. Last night, she picked up her phone to learn an armed gang was terrorizing her son, his wife Natalie, and a Haitian colleague.
He had already sustained a beating at the hands of a gang, and they had come into the compound. They had taken everything. And at that time, a second gang entered.
None of them would survive. Davy was just 23 and Natalie 21. Today, her dad wrote, "My heart is broken in 1,000 pieces."
They put gasoline, they set the house on fire, and then they broke the door down and went in and shot him.
Armed gangs control most of Haiti's capital since the assassination of the country's president 3 years ago. More than 2,500 people were killed or injured by gang violence in the country in the first 3 months of this year. Now, Kenya will lead a multinational security force to help stabilize Haiti. The Biden administration has promised to set aside $300 million for the effort, but the president stresses there will not be American troops on the ground.
We're going to supply logistics, intelligence, and equipment.
Tonight, with the future of the nonprofit Elisa Lloyd founded uncertain, she's remembering her son, who she says just wanted to make a difference.
He just had a heart to do what was right, and I just don't know how I'm going to deal with all of it, but I know that God's faithful.
The U.S. government continues to have a do not travel warning in place for Haiti, with U.S. government personnel there forbidden from even walking around the capital. Elson?
Gabe Gutierrez, thank you. Now to the war in the Middle East, where the United Nations highest court ordered Israel to halt its military operations in Rafah. But Israel showing no signs of complying. NBC News international correspondent Raf Sanchez has the latest.
Tonight, this Israeli airstrike hitting Rafah. Our team in Gaza following fire crews trying to put out the flames.
What the Palestinians need is immediately stop war.
The strike coming just as the UN's highest court ordered Israel to stop its military operations in the city to protect civilians.
Israel must immediately halt its military offensive.
The ruling is binding, but the World Court has no means of enforcing it, and Israel giving no sign it'll comply, saying it launched a just war to eliminate Hamas following the October 7th terror attack, and that it's acting to reduce as much harm as possible to civilians. But nearly 1 million Palestinians have been displaced since the start of the Rafah operation. The court's action today adding more pressure on Israel after war crimes prosecutors earlier called for the arrest of both Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Hamas leaders. The White House called that move against Israel outrageous.
We don't think there's an equivalence between what Israel did and what Hamas did.
The court today also calling it deeply troubling that Hamas still refuses to immediately release its hostages. Israel's military says it recovered the bodies of 3 more hostages today.
And after a call with President Biden tonight, the leader of Egypt agreeing to allow more aid into Gaza through Israel. Elson?
Raf Sanchez in Tel Aviv, thank you. Staying overseas, we turn now to the French territory of New Caledonia, where a voting reform bill has sparked weeks of deadly protest. French President Emmanuel Macron on the ground in the island territory in an effort to restore order. But within hours of his arrival, police fatally shooting a man during an altercation with protesters. Here's the latest.
Tonight, after more than a week of deadly unrest in the French territory of New Caledonia, French President Emmanuel Macron visiting the riot-hit island, announcing that he will delay voting reforms that sparked the mayhem.
Moi, je m'engage à ne pas passer en force pour essayer pendant quelques semaines de redonner une chance à l'apaisement et au dialogue. C'est pas un chèque en blanc parce qu'on peut pas céder à la violence et dire on abandonne tous.
But violence has already taken hold of the territory. On Friday, just hours after Macron's visit, a police officer shot and killed a man after being attacked by a group of about 15 people, according to the territory's prosecutor. The 7th shooting death since the start of the conflict. Officials say the officer is in custody and there is an ongoing investigation. New Caledonia is an archipelago in the Pacific Ocean, more than 10,000 miles away from France, that has been under French control since 1853. Last week, rioting broke out before French lawmakers voted on a bill to allow French residents who have lived in New Caledonia for 10 years to vote in provincial elections. A move some local officials fear will dilute the vote of the indigenous Kanak people, some of whom also want independence.
I think there are ways of re-establishing peace in New Caledonia, but it can't be done sort of with a magic wand, and certainly just postponing the vote on the electoral roll is not sufficient. There's a lot of trust that now has to be rebuilt before the negotiations can lead to a fruitful outcome.
Macron's visit coming after politicians and activists warned the country was on the verge of losing control.
They're bringing back the war here in New Caledonia, the civil war here.
As residents of New Zealand and Australia evacuate New Caledonia, a state of emergency and curfew remains in place across the island.
And President Macron saying the state of emergency there can only be lifted if local leaders decide and demand that barricades placed out by demonstrators and other locals that they get put up and cleared away. Turning now to a chilling story out of Indiana, where human remains found at the home of a suspected serial killer have been identified. Investigators working to identify even more victims in hopes of solving a decades-old mystery. NBC's Yasmin Vasugian has more on this.
Tonight, an Indiana community getting just a shred of closure after the remains of Jeffrey A. Jones, missing since 1993, were finally identified. Those remains found on the estate called Fox Hollow Farm of now deceased suspected serial killer Herbert Baumeister. Authorities believe he frequented gay bars to lure men to his home, later killing, dismembering, and burying them. They allege he murdered more than 25 people in the 1980s and 90s.
These remains are 30 years old. They've been burnt. They've been crushed. So that makes our DNA efforts difficult.
Jones's identification coming from just some of the thousands of fragments of bones and other remains recovered from Baumeister's property. Authorities reportedly first searched the property back in 1996 after Baumeister's son found a human skull 60 yards from the home. They initially identified 8 victims, but limitations in DNA testing technology made IDing the rest nearly impossible.
In 1996, DNA technology really was not something local law enforcement and medical investigators were familiar with.
In 1996, Baumeister died by suicide before authorities could question him, leaving families without any explanation. But new advances have allowed authorities to analyze more of those unidentified samples and cross-reference some with DNA profiles from genealogy websites, leading to Jeffrey Jones. Jones is just the latest to be ID'd in recent years. The family of missing man Alan Livingston also never giving up the search.
I know he's there. I know he's there. I know that man got him. I just know it. I feel it.
Sharon Livingston ramping up her efforts after a cancer diagnosis, just as the local coroner rededicated his office to the case. Her son Alan identified last October from a leg bone.
I think it's important that we give the opportunity to these families to bring as much of their loved one home.
Yasmin Vasugian joins us now. Yasmin, what are authorities doing to identify additional victims?
Imagine just how harrowing this is, Ellison, for the family members that are waiting for these potential victims to be identified. 10,000 remains found on this property, 4 additional DNA profiles as well, bringing the total number of victims from this alleged serial killer to 12. Investigators, though, Ellison, they are committed. They're going to be sending these remaining remains to the FBI for further investigation and hopeful identity.
Yasmin Vasugian, thank you. When we come back, a deadly standoff unfolding on a California highway. Dozens of squad cars and SWAT teams and armored vehicles involved in an hours-long standoff with an armed driver in Orange County. How that terrifying scene came to an end late today. Stay with us. Back now with Top Stories news feed, and we begin with an update on Alec Baldwin and the Rust movie set shooting. A New Mexico judge denying Baldwin's appeal to have the trial dismissed. His lawyers had argued critical evidence was not presented to the grand jury, which indicted the actor earlier this year. Baldwin is charged with involuntary manslaughter for the fatal shooting of cinematographer Helena Hutchins. He has pleaded not guilty. The charge carries a maximum sentence of 1.5 years in prison. And a deadly standoff shutting down an Orange County, California freeway for quite a few hours. Traffic stretching for miles as SWAT teams and armored vehicles surrounded a blue sedan. You can see it right there. It stopped in the middle of a lane on an expressway. But this standoff, it lasted for several hours. The driver of that car later pronounced dead at the scene, though it's not clear yet how he died. And a passing to note, Morgan Spurlock, the man behind the Oscar-nominated documentary Super Size Me, has died from complications due to cancer. The documentary, which chronicled the 30-day period when Spurlock ate only McDonald's, sparked a national debate about the role of fast food in America's obesity epidemic. Spurlock went on to produce nearly 70 documentaries on a range of subjects before his admission to being, quote, part of the problem during the Me Too movement effectively ended his career. He was 53 years old. Now to the Pentagon, where senior U.S. officials tell NBC News the Biden administration is increasingly concerned about the alliance between Russia and North Korea as the U.S. braces for potentially intensifying military actions from the countries ahead of the November election. NBC's Pentagon correspondent Courtney Kuby joins us now from our D.C. bureau. So, Courtney, walk us through what your sources are telling you about the possibility of this threat.
So, Ellison, officials are bracing for the possibility that North Korea could engage in more provocative military action than the U.S. and the world have seen in the last decade. This could be everything from more missile tests with demonstrating new advanced technologies to even another nuclear test. It would be their 7th under this regime, or the possibility of some sort of aggressive action against South Korea. They're bracing for this in part because it's an election year. During election years, historically, North Korea has conducted more provocative activity, but they are also looking at the fact that North Korea now has this increasing, strengthening relationship with Russia, and that may be emboldening their behavior. And they are all looking towards the possibility that this activity could ramp up and even culminate right before the election in November, Ellison.
Talk to us a little more about that timing, because I do think, even though I heard you say there's this precedent for them ramping up before an election in the U.S., I think to a lot of us it's like, but why? What do they care? Are they trying to help this candidate or this candidate? Do we know why they tend to do that and why this election might matter more to them?
So historically, it's been for several reasons. Number one is just to sow chaos. Number two, they just want attention, right? During an election year, provocative behavior may get a little bit more attention because of the possibility of some sort of potential conflict. But in this case this year, the officials we spoke with said they are looking at the possibility that Russia may actually be encouraging North Korea to carry out more provocative action. Now, as part of this strengthening relationship, Russia has received millions of rounds of artillery and ammunition from North Korea that's already having an impact on the ground in Ukraine. But Russia, in response, is giving North Korea things like fuel and food, but they are also providing some military equipment and potentially some military technology, things like more advanced missile technology, even nuclear submarine technology. Officials here are concerned that that technology could provide them with that advancement that could make North Korea even more potentially confrontational or dangerous in the weeks and months ahead, Ellison.
What does the Pentagon or other U.S. officials plan to do in response to this? Is there any indication that they may take some sort of preemptive action on this?
Not at this point. So the two things that they're really looking at are strengthening alliances. We've seen a lot of that in recent months, strengthening specifically with Japan, with South Korea, with allies in the region. But the Biden administration has also made outreach, advances towards North Korea, attempts for some sort of diplomacy. Again, historically, when the U.S. and North Korea are talking, there is less provocative action by North Korea. There's a hope that maybe there'll be some sort of movement on the diplomatic front, but the reality, Ellison, right now, there hasn't been any kind of movement in that front.
Courtney Kuby, thank you. Coming up next, 2 fiery rescues caught on camera in Florida and in California. The heroes that jumped into action to save people trapped in burning wreckage. The youngest person rescued, just 3 years old. Stay with us. Back now with Top Stories Global Watch and a look at what is happening around the world. Starting tonight in Papua New Guinea, where hundreds are feared dead after a massive landslide. Dozens of homes were flattened and families buried alive in a remote northern village. The landslide hit a village in the Inga province around 3 a.m. local time. Video shows people carrying their belongings as they fled through rocks and debris. Officials say an emergency response is now underway. Now to Mexico, where violent disputes between street performers escalated in the city of Morelia. This security footage shows a group of mariachis attacking a flame swallower. You heard that right. The brawl starting with the mariachis punching him to the ground and kicking him. The flame swallower fought back, dousing the mariachis in flammable liquid and set them ablaze. No arrests were made. The flame swallower is currently hospitalized. And a humpback whale entangled in fishing rope was freed after a rescue operation in Australia. A special crew saved the whale off the coast of Rottnest Island in a 4-hour mission. The team first satellite tagged the animal, then tracked its movements before safely freeing it from that rope. And back here at home now to 2 fiery rescues this week. The moment 2 heroes jumped into action, all caught on camera in 2 different states. Rahima Ellis has this story.
Anybody else in there? Is there anybody else inside?
Tonight, a heroic Florida police officer seen on camera leaping into action, coming to the rescue after this disastrous car crash at a Lauderhill intersection.
It sounded like a bomb. Like, boom!
The car bursting into flames, trapping 4 people.
There's a fire. There's a risk that you might get burned in the, in the mix, but you have to check to see if there's somebody inside that car.
There's 2 people in here. Where?
Body cam shows Officer Jason Reyes rushing into action, grabbing a fire extinguisher to fight the flames, battling billowing smoke before firefighters arrive.
Here, let me bust out the window.
He then uses his baton to smash a car window and help rescue a trapped survivor.
Finding her, she was scrunched up almost underneath the steering wheel. So getting her out, I was very surprised when she was breathing.
That woman just one of 4 victims rescued and taken to the hospital.
You got to act sometimes, kind of put yourself off to the side. That's what we do for a living. Put ourselves second to the public.
That rescue, not the only act of bravery this week.
Instincts, absolute adrenaline kicked in. I was all go.
Former Marine Troy White driving his own daughter home from soccer practice when he saw this fiery wreck along the side of the highway in Contra Costa County, California.
Ran over there as fast as I could. When I got there, the mother was climbing out of the vehicle through the top.
Still trapped in her car seat, 3-year-old Paisley.
She was just dangling and her foot was touching the ground through the broken window hole.
Troy pulling the little girl to safety.
It crossed my mind that it was dangerous, but, it has to be done.
Minutes later, the car explodes. Paisley's mother, thankful for Troy, telling our Bay Area station, because of him, my daughter gets to celebrate her 4th birthday.
Just honored to be able to do it and thankful that I was there.
Troy, a recovering addict, thankful to be at the right place at the right time.
I'm 6 months clean and sober today, and life is so good today, and I'm so blessed.
Paisley's family feeling blessed as well, saying Troy is now part of their family. Rahima Ellis, NBC News.
Thanks so much for watching Top Story. I'm Ellison Barber in for Tom Llamas in New York. Stay right there. More News Now is on the way.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.